So, sorry to keep you. Thanks everyone for coming, and hello to everyone online. So, would you like to play the drum for us? Maybe Kirill, or go over them and play some carousels? Okay, so we're going to begin with a little chanting of Hare Krishna. Can you just turn the volume up just slightly, Julian? See where on the one where the cable's going into? The very bottom one, yeah. Hare Krishna. Yeah, that's good. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we're just going to chant Hare Krishna before we start, which is it's a type of meditation, and just like the easiest way to wake someone up who's sleeping is the sound, usually of the alarm clock. I don't know about anyone else, but generally I hit the snooze button and the alarm clock goes off. Usually after a few snoozes, then eventually we get up. So it's described that the most powerful means to reawaken the soul in this day and age is through sacred sounds or mantra. And of all different mantras, this Hare Krishna mantra that we have on the television up here is the most powerful of all mantras. So we're going to begin with a little bit of chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, and it works in a call and response fashion. So one person will lead the chanting, and then everyone else will respond in time. So in this case, I'll be doing the chanting, and then everyone else can respond. And we have some instruments like the drum, the mridanga, and the kartals, and the harmonium. Create a little melody, and then we'll be speaking from the Bhagavad-gita. I'm just going to chant a couple of introductory mantras. We chant for purification, and then when we come to the Hare Krishna mantra, then everyone can join in. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunya So, we'll do a little more chanting after the seminar. That was just a little warm-up, just to make sure everyone's wide awake now. We were saying that the Hare Krishna mantra, it reawakens our dormant spiritual nature, and it also wakes us up materially as well. So before we read from the Bhagavad-gita, we usually recite a little invocation mantra, again just to invoke auspiciousness. So if everyone can repeat after me. Om Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Namo read from the verse, although the verse is up there. We've been studying the Bhagavad-gita here now for some time. We've just finished studying the 30 key verses of the Bhagavad-gita. But we're now just we're about to embark upon a spiritual journey of studying the Bhagavad-gita thematically. So there are 16 different themes which are given in the Bhagavad-gita. I'll read through them now. So the first, and these are going to scan about 150 verses of the Bhagavad-gita. Altogether there's about 700 verses. But these 150 verses that we're going to be studying, not all tonight, don't worry, we're only going to do one tonight. But these 150 verses, they deal with these 16 different themes, starting with the ABCs to the XYZs. I'll say it in the American version. So it rhymes. Doesn't sound good. The ABCs to the XYZs. So we're going to start with the ABCs, and we're going to finish with the XYZs. So the first theme is the soul and transmigration. What we can maybe do is we can maybe put this on a little printout and give this to everyone. I did actually intend to try and do this for tonight, but I wasn't able to get it done this week. But we'll try it for another week. So that's the first one, the soul and transmigration. The next theme is characteristics of the self-realized person. If anyone's making notes, they can ask me at the end if they don't catch all of these. The next one is the levels of knowledge. And then number 4 is how to receive knowledge. Number 5 is mind and sense control. 6 is the yoga process. 7 is renunciation of work versus work in devotion. The next one is levels of God realization. And then the next one is defeating impersonalism. And then the next one is demigod worship. And then the next one is devotees and non-devotees. So this is 12 now. 12 is the relationship between Jiva, Ishwar and Prakriti. 13 is the material modes of nature. 14 is Varnashram Dharma. 15 is Bhakti. And 16 is Ananya Bhakti. So Ananya Bhakti means full devotion, fixed devotion, pure devotion to Krishna. So these are the 16 different themes, and there's going to be 13 verses alone just dealing with the ABCs, which is the soul and transmigration. So today's verse we're going to be studying is chapter 2, text 12, which we have up here on the television screen. So perhaps Julian, if you can just make it bigger so the whole Sanskrit verse fills the screen so everyone can read it, and then we'll do the verse all together. Perfect. Okay? If you can't sit, just move into a place where you can. Okay, so I'm just getting this up here. So this is 2:12. Okay, if everyone repeats after me. Na, tu, evaham, jatu, nasam, natvevaham, jatu, nasam, natvevaham, jatu, nasam, na, tvam, name, janatipa, natvam name, janatipa, natvam name, janatipa, na, chaiva, na, bhavishama, chaiva na bhavishama, chaiva na bhavishama, Save, Vayam, Ata, Param, Save, Vayam, Ata, Param, Natvevaham, Jatu, Nasam, Natvam, Neme, Janatipa, Nachaiva, Na, Bhavishama, Save, Vayam, Ata, Param, Natvevaham, Jatu, Nasam, Natvam, Neme, Janatipa, Chaiva na bhavishama, Save vayam mataparam. Any of the men want to have a go at reciting? Natvevaham jatu nasam, Natvam neme janatipa, Chaiva na bhavishama, Save vayam mataparam,
Natvevaham jatu nasam,
Natvevaham jatu nasam,
Natvam neme janatipa,
Natvam neme janatipa,
Nachaiva na bhavishama,
Chaiva na bhavishama,
Sarve vayam mataparam,
Save vayam mataparam. Any of the ladies want to have a go? Natvam jatu nasam, Natvam neme janatipa, Chaiva na bhavishama, Save vayam mataparam. One more.
Natvevaham jatu nasam,
Natvevaham jatu nasam,
Natvam neme janatipa,
Natvam neme janatipa,
Chaiva na bhavishama, Sarva vayam ataparam.
Very good, thank you. So we'll just go through the word for word now. Na, never. To, but. Eva, certainly. Aham, I. Jatu, at any time. Na, did not. Asam, exists. Na, not. Tvam, you. Na, not. You may. All these. Jana adipa, kings. Na, never. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Na, not. Bhavishama, shall exist. Save vayam, all of us. Ata param, hereafter. Translation: Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Please repeat. Never was there a time when I did not exist,
nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall anyone cease to be.
Very good. So we'll read through the purport now. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. It's quite a long purport, so you can follow and keep your ears peeled. In the Vedas, in the Katha Upanishad, as well as in the Ashvatara Upanishad, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities, in terms of their different situations, according to individual work and reaction of work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is also, by His plenary portions, alive in the heart of every living entity. Only saintly persons who can see, within and without, the same Supreme Lord can actually attain to perfect and eternal peace. Nityo Nityanam, Chaitanas Chaitananam, Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kamam. Tam Atmastam Ye Nupashanti Deras, Te Sham Shanti, Shashvati Nataresha. Katha Upanishad. The same Vedic truth given to Arjuna is given to all persons in the world who pose themselves as very learned, but factually have but a poor fund of knowledge. The Lord says clearly that He Himself, Arjuna, and all the kings who are assembled on the battlefield are eternally individual beings, and that the Lord is eternally the maintainer of the individual living entities, both in their conditions and in their liberated situations. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supreme individual person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associate, and all the kings assembled there are individual eternal persons. It is not that they did not exist as individuals in the past, and it is not that they will not remain eternal persons. Their individuality existed in the past, and their individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation for anyone. The Mayavadi theory that after liberation the individual soul, separated by the covering of Maya or illusion, will merge into the impersonal Brahman and lose its individual existence is not supported herein by Lord Krishna, the Supreme Authority. Nor is the theory that we only think of individuality in the conditioned state supported herein. Krishna clearly says herein that in the future, also the individuality of the Lord and others, as it is confirmed in the Upanishads, will continue eternally. This statement of Krishna's is authoritative because Krishna cannot be subject to illusion. If individuality were not a fact, then Krishna would have not stressed it so much, even for the future. The Mayavadi may argue that the individuality spoken of by Krishna is not spiritual, but material. Even accepting the argument that the individuality is material, then how can one distinguish Krishna's individuality? Krishna affirms his individuality in the past, and confirms his individuality in the future also. He has confirmed his individuality in many ways, and impersonal Brahman has been declared to be subordinate to him. Krishna has maintained spiritual individuality all along. If he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul in individual consciousness, then his Bhagavad-gita has no value as authoritative scripture. A common man with all the four defects of human frailty is unable to teach that which is worth hearing. The Gita is above such literature. No mundane book compares with the Bhagavad-gita. When one accepts Krishna as an ordinary man, the Gita loses all importance. The Mayavadi argues that the plurality mentioned in this verse is conventional and that it refers to the body. But previous to this verse, such a bodily conception is already condemned. After condemning the bodily conception of the living entities, how was it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition on the body again? Therefore, individuality is maintained on spiritual grounds and is thus confirmed by great acharyas like Sri Ramanuja and others. It is clearly mentioned in many places in the Gita that this spiritual individuality is understood by those who are devotees of the Lord. Those who are envious of Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, have no bona fide access to the great literature. The non-devotee's approach to the teachings of the Gita is something like that of a bee licking on a bottle of honey. One cannot have a taste of honey unless one opens the bottle. Similarly, the mysticism of the Bhagavad-gita can be understood only by devotees. and no one else can taste it, as it is stated in the 4th chapter of the book. Nor can the Gita be touched by persons who envy the very existence of the Lord. Therefore, the Mayavadi explanation of the Gita is a most misleading presentation of the whole truth. Lord Caitanya has bitterness to read commentations by the Mayavadis, and warns that one who takes to such an understanding of the Mayavadi philosophy loses all power to understand the real mystery of the Gita. If individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of teaching by the Lord. The plurality of the individual soul and of the Lord is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed by the Vedas as above mentioned. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Vidhatmena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. The Tvevaham Jatunasam, the Twamname Janadipa, the Chaivana Bhavishana Savi Vayam Tapuram. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So, if we just go back to the previous verse, I'll just read it out to you, text 11. Krishna says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So, just to put this into context, Arjuna, he was a warrior and he was about to engage in this great fratricidal war, the Battle of Kurukshetra, and he was going to have to fight with all his different relatives and kinsmen, and he was lamenting that I'm going to have to kill all these people. So he was feeling bad. But Krishna here is making the point. He says, a wise man laments neither for the living nor for the dead. So why is that? Why do we not lament for the body? Well, in this verse that we're studying today, Krishna is basically saying, you're not that body. You can't kill the body. Of course, this shouldn't be taken out of context. One time, there was one serial killer, Charles Manson, and he was in court for killing so many people, and he was put on the, had to give his testimony, and he quoted from the Bhagavad-gita. And he said, actually, in the Bhagavad-gita, it says that the soul is eternal and can never be killed. For the soul is neither birth nor death at any time. So actually, I haven't really killed these people. They're not that body anyway. So this is misrepresenting the Bhagavad-gita. This isn't, just because we're not the body, it doesn't mean that we can go around and commit violence upon the body. But Arjuna was a warrior. That was his duty. He was to fight. But really, what Krishna is trying to teach here, he's saying, don't lament for the body, because you're not that body. So if you're not the body, actually we said this is the ABC of spiritual life. This is like the foundation. So if you're building a building, do we have any builders here? Wayne and Ranjit, we have some builders and engineers. So what happens, Wayne, if you don't have a good foundation on a building? Just crumbles, right? It falls down. So similarly, if you have a strong foundation, then you can build the next story on top of it. You can build another story on top of that. You can build another story on top of that, and it will be strong because it's the foundation. So this is the foundation of spiritual life, to understand that we're not the body. And if we understand this fact, then we'll be able to understand further, deeper spiritual knowledge. So that's why we're starting with this theme, the soul and transmigration. So therefore, if we're not the body, who am I? This is an important question. Actually, in the start of the Vedanta Sutra, the great Vedic classic, the first verse is Atato Brahma Jigyasa, which basically means, now I'm in this human form of life, now I have to inquire into the absolute truth. Who am I? Why am I here? Where did I come from? What is the nature of the absolute truth? So it says the nature of the absolute truth is Janmad Yasya Jata. The nature of the absolute truth is that from which everything emanates. So this is Krishna. Krishna is the absolute truth, and everything is emanating from him, including us. We're also coming from Krishna. So therefore the answer is, who am I? So again, this is given in the Vedanta Sutra. It says, Aham Brahmasmi, which means I'm the soul. I'm not the body, I'm the soul. Just like you have the car, put your hands up if you've come in a car today. Okay. Now put your hands up if your car drove itself here. No one came in Knight Rider. Actually, you can get cars that park themselves nowadays. I've seen those. You can just line it up and it kind of parks itself. But still, if you hadn't got in the car, you hadn't started the engine, it wouldn't work. So in the same way, this body is just like a vehicle for the soul. It's very nice, it's a very complicated machine, but it doesn't work without a driver. So the driver is the soul, or the jiva, aham brahmasmi. So I'm not the body, I'm the spirit soul. So how can we understand this? Well, the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna teaches, he says that the material body is constantly changing, but the soul remains the same. So therefore everything material goes through 6 changes, or 6 transformations. So what's the first transformation? What's the first thing that happens? We're born, yeah. We take birth in this material world. So like here we have little Abai. How old is Abai now? 10 months now. So when you got Abai, how big was he when he was born? He was about this. So how big is he now? He's like twice that now, right?
65 centimeters.
He's 65 centimeters. There you go. When I was younger, I remember I used to have my cupboard against the wall. I would like measure how high I was, every few months, and then you can check your progress. So the first thing is we're born, we take birth, and then we grow. We produce some byproducts. There you go, some byproducts. We also have children and things. The body produces so many different byproducts. It remains for some time, and then eventually it dwindles, and then, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, it dies. Dun, 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 dun. That's a fact. That's the fact. So therefore everything material goes through these 6 changes. It's born, it grows, it remains for some time, it produces some byproducts, and eventually it dwindles, and then it dies. And it's described that this material body is like a city with 9 gates. Like sometimes if you go to some of these old towns or these old cities like York, you'll see that there are gates into the town. They had the city walls, and then at certain strategic places around the city walls, like Chester, the walls in town, York, then there's a gate into that town. So it's described that the material body is like a city with 9 gates.
Newcastle is a city gate.
That's true, yeah. Newcastle also has city walls, doesn't it? They're mostly ruined now, but at one point there would have been different gates. So the material body is like a city with 9 gates. So 2 of the gates are ears. 2 ears. There's the 2 eyes. That's 4. The 2 nostrils. That's 6. There's the mouth. 7. And then there's the genitals. And then there's the rectum. So these are the 9 gates in the body. And it's described that just like someone is living within that city, in the same way the soul, or the jiva, is residing within this city of 9 gates. But there's a distinction. We're living in the body, but we're not the body. Just like you might live in York, but you're not York. So the material body is constantly changing. Matter is constantly changing, but the soul remains the same. So how do we understand this, that the soul remains the same? Well, I'm existing now, And I remember, actually I don't remember when I was Abai's age, 10 months, but I've seen photos and I didn't look like this. I was a lot cuter. Actually, my wife, she has a little photo of me as a baby. I think also when I was 10 months old, the same age, you know. And she says, oh, you were a lot cuter then. So, I'm existing now, but the body that I had when I was 10 months old isn't existing anymore. And actually, that's science. They say that according to material science, every 7 years, every single cell in the body changes. This is material science. Do we have any biologists in the room who can confirm it? Okay, well, you'll just have to take my word for it. Every 7 years, every single cell in the body changes. So therefore, by the time you're 14, that means your body has changed twice. It's not the same body. And by the time you're 21, it's changed 3 times. I'm 37 now, so that means my body's changed 5 times. It's a different body. But I still exist. Because I can remember when I was 10, I can remember when I was 15, I can remember when I was 20. Time's getting very quick now as you get older. Has anyone noticed that time gets quicker and quicker? I remember in the school holidays when 6 weeks, the 6 week summer holidays was like a lifetime. Nowadays 6 weeks just passes by in a flash. Time is relative. And therefore over time everything is changing, but we remain the same. So in other words, we're different from the body. We sometimes do an experiment. In fact, we're going to do the experiment now. We're going to ask Eka to come over here and stand up. Everyone give Eka a round of applause. So Eka, I want you to point with your right hand to your left leg. Okay, is that definitely his left leg, everyone? Yeah, okay, Eka, now point to your left arm. Everyone agree? Is that his left arm? Now point to your chest. Okay, now point to your head. And now point to you. Okay, we've stumped him. Okay, give him a round of applause. So who am I? Yeah, this is my head, this is my chest. But when we say point to you, Eka didn't do it. Sometimes someone will go and will say, no, that's your chest. Or they'll say, no, that's your head, that's not you. In other words, this is my hand, this is my leg, this is my head. I own the head. So in other words, who is the I? So therefore the Bhagavad-gita says the I is the soul. So in other words, we're the soul living within the body. And what is the soul? Well, again, in the Vedic literatures it's described that the soul is a tiny little spiritual spark of energy, which is 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair. So if you take one hair, pluck it, and then you get it and you divide it into 10,000 pieces, that's the size of the soul. It's atomic. You can't see it, and even though it's tiny, it's giving life to the whole body. Just like we're living in a vast universe, and the sun, in comparison to the size of the universe, is tiny. But that one sun is illuminating, and it is giving life to the entire universe. So in the same way, that tiny little spiritual spark of energy, the Atma, and the soul is giving life to this whole body. Now you can't see it, so you might say, so where is it? I should be able to see it through a microscope. But the idea is that you can't necessarily see it, but you can perceive it. Just like the sun. Now, we don't often see the sun in Newcastle. Right now, the weather is a bit temperamental. Like, one day it's boiling hot, then the next day it's freezing cold and raining. I'm never sure what to do with my heating. You know, throughout the winter months, I have heating on twice. You know, it comes on at a certain time in the morning, and then I've turned it off, so I thought, I don't want to waste my, have to have a massive gas bill. So I've taken it off twice. But then the next day it's freezing cold again. So we don't see the sun that often. Like right now we can't see the sun in the sky, but we know that the sun is there. Why do we know the sun is there? How do we know? Someone give me a logical answer. How do we know the sun is still in the sky?
Still light?
It's still light, yeah. So you can't see it, but you can perceive it. So similarly, in the same way, although the body, we can't necessarily see the soul, we can perceive the soul. Why? Because there's consciousness in the body. That is the symptom of the soul, consciousness. As soon as there's no consciousness in the body, what is a dead body? A dead body, it's still all the same chemicals are there. When someone dies, we say, John has gone. But John hasn't gone, he's still lying there. So who's gone? What's gone? John's gone. So the spark of life, the jiva, the soul, that was John. John isn't the body. If I have to have my arm amputated, I'm no less of a person, I'm still Caitanya, even though I've lost my arm. So I'm not the arm. The body isn't me. I'm giving life to the body. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. So when you look into someone's eyes, and therefore when you look into an animal's eyes also, some people say, oh yeah, an animal's just chemicals. If anyone owns an animal like a dog or you can, when you look, there's personality there. It's a person. It's not just chemicals, is it? There's love, there's a loving relationship. So therefore, when you look into the eyes, then you see the soul. So this is the proof of the soul. We perceive it through consciousness. Now, I've lost my... okay. Now, the important part is now some of you who've been coming to these Bhagavad-gita classes for many years, or you've been practicing Krishna consciousness for many years, you may be saying right now in your mind, I've heard this all before. I know I'm not the body. I know I'm the soul. This is the first thing we learn in spiritual life. But there's one thing to say I'm not the body, and there's another thing to live I'm not the body. So one thing is called gyan. This means this means theoretical knowledge. And we recite it like a mantra. I'm not the body. I'm not the body. I'm not the body. But to actually live on the platform that you're not the body is something different. Put your hands up if you've experienced difficulty. You can understand it or accept in theory that you're not the body, but you have difficulty to sometimes apply the fact that you're not the body. Put your hands up. Good. And maybe we can have a few examples. Go with that. Give us an example of how it's difficult to live on a platform that we're not the body.
Get very affected when some of your byproducts, your children, for example, when you're not getting along with them or something bad happens to them, you get very affected. If I'm not the body and they're not their body either, I should be able to be calm and see if I can actually help practically without getting upset. So that's like one example of the fact that I'm feeling that relationship in an emotional way, not very helpfully sometimes.
Thank you, that's a nice example. So for anyone who's listening online, because unfortunately we don't have the mic, we need to have our mic to pass around. We'll arrange that for next time. But Govardhan was saying that, if we have byproducts, that's clinical ways, like she was saying, if we have children, then we become attached to our children, and we become affected if there's some difficulty there. If we actually knew we're not the body, and they're not the body, then we might be able to deal with it in a more rational way, but we become attached. Is that someone for the class? Is that someone just... Okay. It's okay. He's not the body, and we're not the body either. We won't become He's also a spirit soul, he just doesn't realise. So that's a good example. Anyone else? Another example. Eka.
A lack of sleep.
A lack of sleep. Yeah, I said that at the beginning. When the alarm clock goes off, we hit the snooze button. I don't know about you, but recently I've been going through a bit of a stage of, hitting the snooze button, and it's just become automatic pilot now. And even though I put the alarm clock on the other side of the room, so I have to get up and turn it off, but, especially this time of year when it's still a bit chilly, it's so, it's really like cozy in your bed. So actually, even though I've had enough sleep, my mind will say, you need some more sleep. You better go back to sleep. But when I go back to sleep, when I wake up, I don't actually feel better, I don't feel more refreshed, actually I feel worse. Has anyone ever noticed that? According to Ayurveda, which is the Vedic branch of medicine, it says that when you wake up, you should get up. If you wake up and then you go back to bed again, you lose half of your energy. So it's better to actually get up when you wake up. You'll have more energy, and then if you need to take a little nap later on at some point, then you can do that. Of course, the best thing to do is arrange it so that you go to bed at the right time, so that you can get up at the right time. So this is a good one. But again, if we realise that we weren't the body, then we would say, no, I'm just going to get up now. But often we don't. We hit the snooze button, and then we think we need more rest. Anyway, we could go on like this all evening, but we get the idea. So therefore, we actually have to try and practice this. The Bhagavad-gita isn't just a book to read, it's a book to live. Like Prabhupada was making the point in the Bhagavad-gita purport, he said that you cannot understand what honey tastes like just by licking the bottle. So in other words, you actually have to dive into the Bhagavad-gita. You have to unscrew the bottle of honey, you put your finger in, offer it to Krishna first, and then you can lick it. And then you get the taste of honey. So similarly, this Bhagavad-gita is a book to live by. As we read it, we try and apply it in our own life. We try and act on this platform that I'm not the body. And then there's a difference. Like I can say to you, you're not the body. But when I say it, because I'm not completely off the bodily platform myself, it doesn't have the same effect. But my spiritual master had an experience where he once heard Srila Prabhupada say, you are not the body. It was the first time he'd ever met Srila Prabhupada. It was at Detroit Airport in 1971. And he was speaking with one of his friends, one of his godbrothers, and he said to him, when was the first time you met Srila Prabhupada? And my spiritual master said, Detroit Airport, 1971. And you know what? He said, Prabhupada was speaking and he said the most amazing thing. And he said at one point he leaned over the table where he was speaking and he said, pleading to the audience, please believe me when I tell you, you are not that body. And then his friend said, you know what? That's the only part of the lecture that I can remember as well. And this was like 30 years before. He said it came with so much realization because Srila Prabhupada had realized that he wasn't the body. You're not the body, you're the soul. You know, you have to live a spiritual life. Don't just look after the body, look after the soul. And then they were speaking one of their other friends, Pragosh, and they said, Pragosh, when did you first meet Srila Prabhupada? He said, 1971, Detroit Airport. And you know what? Prabhupada said the most amazing thing. He said, please believe me when I tell you, you are not that body. So because it had been said with realization, with practical, with vigyan, therefore it had an effect on their hearts and they realized, I'm not the body. So therefore, we may have heard this many times before, but again and again, like we said, we have to have the foundation, the strong foundation. So it's good to hear these things again and again, because every now and again we need a bit of revision. We need to realize, yeah, I'm not the body, and therefore I should try and act on the platform of spiritual life. It's not that we neglect the body. I often give the example. You may go, like we're in the material world, we have a material body, we have to look after it, but the point is that's not the main goal of life. Just like if you go to the airport, you may spend some time in the duty-free, doing a bit of shopping, getting this and that, but you don't forget to catch the plane. That's the main reason you're there. So yeah, we're in the material world, we've got different things to do, but don't forget the main point of life, to understand our deeper spiritual nature, to understand I'm not the body, I'm the soul, and to live accordingly. And in this verse, there's this verse that's quoted from the Katha Upanishad, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahunam Yom Vidadati Karma. And this means that of all the eternal living entities, because we're eternal, the body isn't eternal, but the soul is eternal, it is called Satchidananda. Eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. So we're eternal, and Krishna is also eternal. But Krishna is the supreme eternal, and he's maintaining all living entities. So there is a difference between Krishna, and there is a difference between ourselves, and that's the point Krishna is making. He says, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor anyone else. So here, Krishna is stressing the individuality of every single soul. Now, this is an interesting point, individuality. So, this is the dictionary definition of individuality. So, the particular character or aggregate of qualities that distinguish one person or thing from others. So, the particular character or qualities that distinguish one person or one thing from another. So, who would agree with the fact that, okay, put your hands up if you think you pride yourself in being an individual? Who likes to be an individual? Okay, who wants to just be a robot and just like a sheep and just do the same as everyone else? Or who likes to try and do things their way? Who likes to be, okay, put your hands up. Okay, we'll ask you to comment upon that a little bit later on. We won't go into that just now. But, okay, let me ask you another question. Who likes to be told what to do? Put your hands up. Okay, Ranjit, he's a humble soul. I certainly don't. If someone tells me what to do, I think, who are you to tell me? This is me you're speaking to here. I'm an individual. I can make my own decisions. So I was just thinking of different ways that we assert our individuality. So can anyone give some examples? How do we distinguish ourselves from others? Fashion. Yeah. I look around the room now. Everyone is dressed differently. Everyone's dressed in a different way. So fashion, how we dress, that's one way. How we distinguish ourselves from others, or we assert our individuality. What else do we do? Education, yeah. Some of us, we take pride in being very learned. We've got a lot of qualifications, we've got degrees, PhDs. Some people take pride in not being educated. They say, I'm a simple, down-to-earth person. I've learned in the University of Life. Or I've learned from the School of Hard Knocks, life experience. Because that's one thing they don't teach you at university, actually. I've been to university, I can say that. They don't teach you life experience. There are some things that you just learn as you go throughout life, Okay, so education, fashion, how else do we distinguish ourselves from others? How else are we individuals? Culture, yeah, that's right. So Newcastle culture may be different from Bangalore, India culture. It's different, and even within Bangalore in India, it may be different from like northern India, right? So culture, that's another way we distinguish ourselves. We pride ourselves in being an individual. What else?
Lifestyle.
Okay, hands up, otherwise we're going to have a free-for-all. What did you say? Lifestyle. Yeah, can you expand upon what you mean?
Well, individual preferences, what people like to do, how they spend the time, how they live, who they live with. Yeah,
good way to say it. So how do we live our lives? On a Saturday, who here supports Newcastle United Football Club? Put your hands up. Okay. Got two people here. So on a Saturday, 3. Julian, yourself as well. I'm a Coventry City supporter. They're not doing very well. Newcastle, then, they've just gone back up to the Premier League. So on a Saturday, some people like to go down and chant Tsunami, Tsunami. Do they still chant that one? Maybe they chant some other things that we can't repeat here in the temple. The referees they can't say those things. So some people like to chant that. Some people are chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can maybe try that next time you go down to the ground. See if you can get a Hare Krishna chant started. There are some people in the ground that start the chants, And they used to go, so you can try that. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare.
You get the idea. So lifestyle, that's another thing that, we have different individuality. What else? Let's have a couple more examples. Go over now.
Like different kinds of food.
Different types of food, yeah. When I was young, I was really fussy. I didn't like vegetables. I was going to say I didn't like vegetarians. I didn't like vegetables. And at the dinner table, I had developed a technique that I would put my mouth full of vegetables, and then I would say, I've got to go to the toilet. So I'd go to the toilet, I would spit all my vegetables down the toilet, and then I would flush the toilet. And after a while, my mum and my sisters, they clocked onto what I was doing. So then I would say, I need to go to the toilet, and say, no, finish the mouthful, You've got to eat your greens, So then what I used to do is I used to take my vegetables and I used to throw them behind the back of the Urkel unit that we had in the lounge. And some years later, my mum was doing some decorating, and she said, Daniel, what are all these peas here doing down the back of the... And I had to tell her what I was... And ironically, now I'm a vegetarian. I didn't like vegetables, now I'm a vegetarian. So yeah, so that's another thing, the way we... so we're talking about different ways that we assert our individuality, or that we're individuals. Let's have one more. We've had fashion, we've had education, we've had lifestyle, we've had the type of foods. Music, yeah, that's a big thing, isn't it? New music. When I was younger, I used to listen to like really extreme metal, death and black metal. Really extreme stuff. There wasn't anything heavier, at least in my mind. So then, there was a bit of a rivalry. I remember at school that we had a communal common room and we had a communal stereo. So there used to be a fight at break time to see who could put something on. And I'd go and put something on, and there was about 2 or 3 of my friends that were into the same music, and everyone else going, turn it off, it's a racket, And then someone would put on some house music or club music, and we would say, there's no talent there. They're not actually playing the instruments. It's just a computer. So that's that. It's not, it's not like a proper band where there's talent there. And then they would say, well, your people are not even singing properly. It's just rah, rah, rah. And we'd say, no, you've got to listen to the guitar riffs. It's all about, So yeah, it can even create fights sometimes. So the point we're making is we do pride ourselves in being individuals. And we like to assert our individuality. So why is that? Because Krishna is saying you're eternally an individual. You were an individual in the past, you're an individual now, and you'll be an individual in the future. It's not that at some point when you become liberated, you're just going to merge. There's this idea in spiritual circles that when we become liberated, when we become enlightened, we just all merge into the one. There's this very vague talk, we just all merge into one. And the idea is, the example or the analogy is given that just like the waters, just like all the different rivers enter into the ocean, at that point they lose their identity. So therefore the water of the ocean is just one great big, quantity of water. The river Tyne goes into it, the river Ganges, but they all just lose their individuality. But the Vaishnavas, the Bhakti Yogas, they give a different example. They say, yes, but within the ocean, there was countless types of living entities. There's fish, there's coral, there's plankton, there's whales. So even within the ocean, there's lots of different individual living entities. So therefore the devotees, they don't want to lose their individuality. They want to retain their individuality, and they want to serve Krishna in an individual way. It's not that Krishna consciousness is stereotyped, that we all have to sing in a particular way, we have to speak from the same way, we have to cook the same way. No, we've all got an individual nature, and we can please Krishna by that individual nature. And in fact, it's described, and this is quite mind-boggling, there's unlimited living entities. Right, here in this room now, there's about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 20. There's about 25 of us here, maybe a few online. Everyone say Hare Krishna to everyone online. Hare Krishna! So there's a few online. So, but actually within this room, there's actually countless living entities. Even on the head of a pin, there can be billions of microbes. So there's unlimited living entities, and it's described, and that's only just within one room we're talking about. What to speak of this country, what to speak of the whole world, and then all the other planets throughout the universe, and then it's described in the Vedas that there's unlimited universes, and it's described that Krishna has an individual relationship with every single living entity, a unique individual relationship. And Krishna has a particular quality that he will only reveal to Kirill. No, he won't reveal it to anyone else. And Krishna's got a unique quality that he will only reveal to Cliff and no one else. Only to Andrea. So we've all got an eternal individual relationship with Krishna, and Krishna's got an eternal individual loving relationship with us, and we can please Krishna by that uniqueness, by that individuality. And Krishna will reciprocate with us in a very individual way. So therefore it is very important. And therefore the process of Krishna consciousness is to rediscover yourself. Not that I'm English, I'm a Geordie, I'm this. Okay, we are those things, but go deeper. Who am I really? I'm not the body, I'm the soul, aham brahmasmi. And therefore that's what yoga means. So we're rediscovering. We're not discovering who we are, we're rediscovering. In other words, we had an individual personality, we had a unique eternal, and we've forgotten who we are. We're like dreaming right now. But when we wake up from the dream, by the process of hearing and chanting transcendental sound, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We rediscover ourselves. This is the journey of self-discovery, the true self. And therefore, yoga means, it doesn't just mean to connect, it means to reconnect with the Supreme, to reconnect with Krishna. In other words, we have a relationship with Krishna and we've forgotten that relationship. So therefore we have to wake up, Jeev Jago, wake up sleeping souls, reconnect with Krishna. And in this way, this is the thing that will bring the true satisfaction that we're all looking for. We're looking a lot of the time externally to find happiness, but the soul by nature is full of happiness. Satchit Ananda, it's full of bliss. So the more we reawaken and we rediscover ourselves, the more happy we feel, the more peaceful we feel. And not only are we not the body, we say we're not the body with the soul. Aham brahmasmi. But even just to understand that we're not the soul, that's not enough. Just like, from a material sense, I don't just say I'm a man, I say I'm Caitanya Vallabha, Das. We were talking about we have a unique individuality, so I take pride in being myself. I'm Caitanya. I'm not just a boy or a person. I've got an individuality. So not only are we aham brahmasmi with the soul, but we're jiva rats, rupa hoy, Krishna and Nityadas. We're eternally servants of Krishna. This is the real identity. So therefore, we don't get rid of individuality, we don't get rid of our identity, but we just try and understand what is our true identity. We're eternally servants of Krishna. And the more we practice this philosophy, like we said, we don't just listen to it, but we try and apply these teachings in our life of not being the body, but being the soul, but being the soul, the eternal servant of Krishna. The more we act in this capacity of acting as the servant of Krishna, the more we rediscover our true self, the more we reawaken that dormant spiritual nature, and the more we will be truly satisfied. So as we engage in this process of trying to apply the Bhagavad-gita, and at the same time we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're going to stop there for now, and we're just going to ask, first of all, does anyone have, any reflections? Something that you've heard, which you're going to take away with you, something that struck a chord with you. Cliff?
You said about the size of the soul is 10,000 of hair.
Yes.
So therefore, we mentioned about that spiritual void and that sweet. If it's 10,000, how does it feel so big, so vast, that when you're that empty feeling?
Yeah. Well, so again, for people online who can't hear the question, Cliff is asking that if the soul is 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair, how is it that we feel so big and we feel like powerful, we can do so much? Did I understand you correctly?
No, how come that spiritual void seems so vast? It's only that big.
Good question. Sorry, I misunderstood. So we were speaking last week about we all have a void within our hearts. We all have a vacuum which makes us dissatisfied, and we're trying to fill that vacuum with different things. But it's described that we've all got a God-shaped vacuum within our heart. So the only thing that will actually satisfy us is when we put God. So you're asking if we're only 1/1000th the size of 10,000th the size of the tip of a hair, why is the vacuum so big if we're just putting it in? But just putting ourselves there is not enough. We have to put Krishna there. We have to put God there. So we have the same qualities as Krishna, but we're Krishna is infinite and we're infinitesimal. We're tiny, but Krishna is that. So what will satisfy that void is when we put Krishna. Because if Krishna's there and we're there, then we'll be completely satisfied. So we also have to put Krishna there. So that's why it seems hard, and that's why it seems like a big void. Because no matter what you put there, unless you put Krishna, you add Krishna into your life, and you try and put Krishna in the heart, you'll always be dissatisfied. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, she seems huge. You know, when you said 10,000, that's the first thing I
Yeah.
thought of. How the things so empty at times.
Yeah. Well, and it's a very simple thing actually, and you will find, and I'm sure we've all had some experience that when we do try and put Krishna in our life, when we do try and put God in the center, actually we do feel completely satisfied. And yet, on the other hand, if we try and put other things, if we put, material things, we try and put those in the center of our life, and we try and put material things, and we find that they just don't satisfy us. And like the example we gave previously of a fish out of water, you take the fish out of water, you can give it so many things, but unless it's in the water, will it be truly satisfied? So in the same way, we're spiritual living entities in the material atmosphere. So unless we're actually engaged in our spiritual, individual activities, we won't be completely satisfied. So actually, it seems like it's very big, but it's actually very simple. We just have to put Krishna in the center, and then we will be satisfied. We'll feel that vacuum filled up. Thank you. Nice question. Ranjit, do you have a question or a reflection? You wanted to add something?
Yeah. Just like we have a big power station, which gives power to the whole Newcastle city, with a small switch, we just operate the complete power station. In the same way, even the soul is very small, so the energy of the soul is very large.
Yes. Good point. So again, for anyone online, he was saying that you can connect to the whole power station, which is very big, just by switching on one light switch. So even though the soul is very small, it is very powerful. And we gave the example of the sun, that in the relative size of the universe, the sun is actually pretty tiny. But yet it gives heat and light and gives life throughout the universe, even though it's so small. So the soul, although it's 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair, it's very powerful. And it becomes even more powerful when it's reconnected to Krishna. And the example is given of just like a spark from a fire. Sometimes if you light a bonfire, you get sparks that come out of the fire, and sometimes they get you in the eye or something like that. So when the spark comes out of the fire, it loses its brilliance, and then it goes out. While the spark is in the fire, it retains its glowing nature. So in the same way, when we disconnect ourselves from Krishna, we lose our power, we lose that bliss, we lose that happiness. But when again we enter the fire, when we're again connected with Krishna, the soul regains its brilliance. Thanks, Ranjit, nice point. Any other questions or comments or any reflections, anything you've heard? Go ahead.
I liked it when you said that there's a billion living entities, a billion microbes, or billions of microbes on the head of a pin.
Yes.
That's amazing, isn't it? To think there's so many living entities on a tin head.
Yeah. It is amazing. It's quite mind-boggling. If there's billions of living entities on the head of a pin, therefore we should understand how fortunate we are to have the human form of life. It's a rare opportunity. It's described that the soul reaches the human form of life after many millions of births in this world. Going through all the different species, we eventually reach the human form of life. And human life, we all have a special gift. So the gift, like everyone has, they say, God-given gift. So a butterfly, a special quality of a butterfly is that it's always very beautiful. We take time every morning to make ourselves look beautiful, wash our hair, dress ourselves up nicely, put on makeup, do this and that. Some of the men nowadays, they take as long to get dressed as the women do, But a butterfly is just naturally very beautiful. It doesn't have to take time. A bird, what can a bird do? It can fly. What did you say, Manjit? It can cuckoo?
No, peacock.
Oh, peacock. Yeah, a peacock is also very beautiful. But a bird can fly. A fish can swim. We can't do these things. A fish can breathe underwater. So what's special about the human form of life? We have this intelligence to be able to understand our deeper spiritual nature. If we're only utilising our intelligence just to improve our comforts of living, and improve our economic status, we're not really utilising the human form of life properly. Human life is especially meant to understand our deep spiritual nature. So now we've got the human form of life, we're not a microbe on the head of a pin, we've got the human form of life, now we should utilise it. Don't waste time, utilise it to understand your true self, discover the true satisfaction the soul is looking for. Nice reflection.
And I like when you said that you're at the airport, you think of duty-free shopping, but don't forget to get on the plane.
Yes.
That's good, right?
Yeah, my spiritual master gave that example. It's a really nice example. You go to the airport, you do a bit of duty-free shopping, but you don't forget to catch the plane, and that's the main reason. So we've got the material body, we've got to look after it, but don't forget your real purpose in life, to understand your deeper spiritual nature. Thank you. Any other reflections or comments or questions?
I like how you said the soul by nature is happy.
Ah.
And I can relate to that. From being a child, I've always been naturally very happy. So I must have a happy disposition, and it must be the soul.
Yeah, that's the fact. And we all want to be happy. Everyone's looking for happiness. That's the nature of the soul, is that it's pleasure seeking. But we're looking externally. So the example is given of the musk deer. There's a deer, the musk deer, and it has a gland within its belly that secretes a very beautiful smell. You know, they have the smell of musk. They used to put it in aftershave and things like that. So it's described that the deer spends its whole life looking for the source of this smell, but it doesn't realise that it's coming from within. So in the same way, we're looking externally to find happiness, but we don't realise that it's within. So we just have to reawaken the soul, and that happiness is there. Nice point. Thanks for sharing. Any other reflections or comments? Okay, so we'd like to thank all of you for all of your contributions. We'd like to thank everyone for their kind attention. We hope that you can take something away. And now we're going to rediscover our true self. We're going to again enter into the chanting. We're going to ask Govardhan if she would like to come and sing for us. She's just up visiting with John, her husband, for the night. They're going to be here today and then tomorrow. And actually we're going to be going out to share this happiness with everyone else. We're going to be going to Newcastle City Centre tomorrow from 11 o'clock in the morning till 1 p.m. to share this spiritual happiness with others. But first we have to be getting some happiness. So therefore we're first going to chant ourselves. So we're going to ask Govardhan if she'd like to come. Is that okay? She can sing. And I think we'll have kirtan for about 15 minutes. And you can sit down or you can stand up if you feel the urge to get up and dance. When the kirtan gets going, then you can do so. And we thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Caitanya Vallabha.
Good job.
I'd like to bring the key. Yeah, go to the corner. If you like. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Jai Vishnu Paramahamsa Parivraj Charya